Hi, welcome to Promo Insiders, an ASI Media podcast covering the topics that matter most to the promotional products industry. I'm Executive Editor Sarah Lavandusky, and today I'm joined by my colleague, Executive Editor Teresa Hagel, and together we're happy to welcome Elizabeth and Jennifer Grojean to the podcast. The sisters established Baloo Living in 2018, which is a lifestyle brand that specializes in weighted blankets made of sustainable and eco-conscious materials, and that is now, we're happy to say, an ASI supplier. They're also in the process of becoming certified by the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. So we're going to talk today about the story behind Baloo Living, where Elizabeth is founder and CEO and Jennifer is director of operations, as well as the science behind weighted blankets, the sustainability aspect of Baloo Living, why self-care and wellness are so important, especially these days, and much more. So thank you, Elizabeth and Jennifer, for being with us today. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. We're excited.
Thank you. So how was your company established? What is the story behind it? And what was the need that you sought to fill with the weighted blankets?
Initially, I traveled to Bali on a sabbatical in 2017. And while I was there, I saw all these, they're called digital nomads, I guess, but people around me that were running businesses from their laptops. And I thought, that's cool. I went back to New York and was slapped in the face with reverse culture shock and decided to go back to Bali and spend more time with these people who were living what I thought was a very freedom-oriented lifestyle. And so there's two ways I think to approach product sourcing for any kind of product-oriented business. There's the passion avenue, and then there's the financial avenue. And I think that when I was there and I was actually studying the data on Amazon search volume to find a product opportunity and saw the opportunity for growth in the weighted blanket category. But when I tried one, I absolutely had an amazing experience with it. I remember waking up from that nap and thinking that I had just gone to a new place far, far away, and I felt amazing. And so for me, it was this opportunity to find a product and share it with the West in a way that communicated the experience that I'd had of being in Bali and sort of being able to decompress, spend time in nature, and start to really feel very good inside my body in a really natural way. So I think weighted blankets are an incredible tool for sleep, but they're also very reassuring and comforting. So they also connect with that wellness or mindfulness aspect that so many people are really looking to connect with more these days.
What had you been doing before this business?
My background had been in marketing. Prior to this, I was working at Scholastic Reading Club as a marketing project manager. And then, funny enough, before that was the executive assistant to the CEO of a tequila company. So I'd kind of done a pivot from tequila to children's books to weighted blankets.
And you hadn't actually used a weighted blanket until you had done the research for this
right.
business and then tried it out?
I saw the numbers and I got so excited by what I saw as a really growing category. And I saw a very big open space for a way to present the product in a more thoughtful, conscientious way, especially, just all with the values behind it, because what I saw at the time was a sea of synthetic materials in the same color gray with listing on Amazon that you could tell were all, written by Chinese sellers. And I was like, for such an intimate, personal and gorgeous experiential product, I would want to do something that would appeal to a consumer like me. So natural materials and thoughtfully executed.
Oh, that's great. And how did you convince Jennifer to join you?
Jennifer, do you want to say that?
Well, I was also working in publishing, just coincidentally, the publishing to weighted blanket pipeline. And I was in sales, and I was working in the part of sales for in publishing, which is very non-traditional, special markets, like selling to specialty gift shop and chains and wholesale accounts and things like that. So I was doing a much more operations sort of side of sales, where working on special print runs and things like that. So I was working with manufacturers and with our supply chain team and everything. So I had kind of a lot of different types of experience. Elizabeth, I think, just had seen
I know how Jennifer operates. I know you can come in and solve a problem in 5 minutes by focusing on it, and she can make anything happen. My dad tells the story of a broken refrigerator she repaired one time.
When I was visiting. his office. Which don't ask me to do that again. I couldn't do that again.
But we talked about it for a good year because I think there's a lot of risk in going into work with your family.
Yeah.
And so we really talked about it and made sure that it was the right time for the business and that she was also ready to make a change. And I always add, like, I think this is funny, but I had our charts read from an astrologist who said that we would be very compatible working together. And I was like, check.
So has it been smooth?
Business to be successful enough that we didn't feel like all of our family eggs were going to be in one basket. You know, we were
too much risk for the family. I'd say it's worked out really, really well.
Yeah.
I had a baby 10 months ago and Jennifer covered for me. Like, you know, there's something about having a family, you can trust someone implicitly, and we do get along really well. So it's going great.
Wonderful. So, and you're also, as we mentioned, you're also in the process of pursuing your official certification from the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. What does that process entail, and what does that mean for your company 4 years into it?
So basically they have a list of documentation that they request, and it's uploaded via their portal. But what they're looking to confirm is not only that a woman is running the business in name, but in the day-to-day operations is truly the leader of the company. And that means just 51% or more greater ownership and leadership in the day-to-day operations. And that's easy because Jennifer and I are the two shareholders of Baloo. And I checked in with them just to make sure I spoke correctly, exactly about what this means to any business. And really, it's helpful because companies and government entities recognize the value of having a diverse supplier base. And this is one way for them to be confident and comfortable that they're achieving that.
Great. And I have to ask you, how did you come up with the name for your company? Because I know a Baloo. There's a Baloo.
A person?
I know a bear named Baloo.
Oh.
That would be cool if I knew a guy named Baloo, but yes, I know the bear. But
well,
I'm
it's
related.
that one.
Oh, I love that.
That's the one. I loved that character and I loved the name, and I was always saving it for something. And, you know, Disney has Baloo trademarked for many categories, but not for bedding and bed sheets. So we just got lucky.
Oh, wow. How about that? Interesting. Oh, I love that.
Make that connection anywhere, like on our website or anything. It's more subconscious.
Subtle.
Like, yeah.
Totally.
A nice bear hug.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's great. Wonderful. So I wanted to ask you, you mentioned about the weighted blankets and the experience that you had with it. And I have heard of them too, but I have yet to try them. So we have seen though that, and you were mentioning this on Amazon, that demand for weighted blankets has grown exponentially in popularity for dealing with stress and anxiety. Can you tell us a little bit about the science behind them and how they address both physical and perhaps mental challenges as well?
Yes. So the mechanism by which they work, which has been studied the most closely, is called deep pressure touch. And that is that even feeling of pressure over the body that helps sensory overload or helps our fight or flight, sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system just relax and let go. And there have been many, many qualitative studies done that show that participants report that they feel feelings of ease, that in some cases, well, and there's the Swedish study done actually where over 50% of participants reported insomnia rates reduced. So there is a dramatic way in which the calming down of the nervous system helps reduce cortisol and also increases the production of melatonin. Melatonin being the hormone that tells the body that it's time to transition to sleep. I think there's a common misperception that melatonin makes you feel drowsy. It's not quite that, but it's the signal that tells your circadian rhythm it's time to sleep. So sometimes when we're lying in bed and trying to switch it off and we can't, it's because our melatonin, our hormones in our body might have gotten disrupted from blue light or stress or cortisol or something like that. So this is helping the body switch into the mode for sleep. melatonin converts naturally to serotonin in the body, which is the feel-good, happy hormone. So you have all this cascade of events of hormonal changes happening in the body that are natural, that you don't have to do something to cause. You don't have to try hard or think about it or even meditate or not think about it. It's sort of this thing that you just put the blanket on. There's an automatic response, and you can be more passive about experiencing the benefit.
Interesting.
So,
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Mhm.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the eco-friendly aspects of the blankets. Because I know you were talking about it, you wanting it to be very, natural. So what is it about the blankets that is, sustainable, and what other things are you guys doing with your company to make it a more sustainable company?
Well, our blankets are 100% cotton, 100% natural materials, so no polyester, no petrochemicals or plastic. They're plastic-free packaging as well. They come actually in a tote bag, which is really cute. Then we also just have minimal packaging to reduce waste, and shipping and all of that. For customer returns, we donate them to organizations like we'll work to find a nonprofit organization. We recently did a donation to a really great shelter called the Orange County Rescue Mission. And we donated blankets and I think some linens to them. So we're trying to keep product out of landfills. And then we also offset our carbon footprint from the beginning all the way to the end. So from the raw materials all the way to shipping to the customers. We work with an organization called seatrees.org, which is really cool and unique because it's a team of surfers and scientists, and they work on reforestation projects at the water's edge, so mangrove and kelp swamps or forests, to not only offset the carbon, but to actually sequester carbon from the atmosphere. So we work with them to calculate our footprint, and then we basically donate twice that, so that we're like paying it forward as well. And they work in accordance with the UN sustainability goals, and they work with local farmers and people in the places where they plant these forests to also create jobs. So they're really, really fantastic organization. So those are some of the things we do.
Awesome. So you said the blankets are, made of cotton, but like what makes them weighted? Like what gives them that heft?
They're made of, they're weighted with glass beads. Like it looks kind of like really pretty even sand, like a little larger than a grain of sand on the beach, but that's kind of what they look like round, like not sharp glass in any way. And it just takes a little bit of glass, like in each pocket. I actually have somewhere. Where is it?
a sample
Oh,
of
here.
the glass.
Sorry, I have this is a little piece of our blanket. So this is to show like inside each of these, there's just like a little bit of glass filling, and it's quilted in this pattern, and like every little piece has glass beads inside to keep it from evenly distributed across the blanket. So like this is the sort of the density of like a 12-pound blanket, but
In a smaller size.
in a smaller size. So like on your body, it's not too heavy in one place, but it's over the course of over the distribution of the blanket.
Okay. And why? So I mean, obviously, it sounds like you guys were very thoughtful about how you created the company and the product. But why was it important for you to build that sustainability into the brand from the beginning?
It's the environmental responsibility, or just caring about the environment, has been important to me for my whole life. When I used to in my early career, I was a marketing assistant at an architecture firm, and I got certified in green building construction practices because I was just trying to move the whole firm in that direction from my little cubicle. And so when I was considering starting this business and contracting or creating and mass producing a product, and then it was going to be created overseas and shipped for sale in the US market, I had a large pang of guilt. Like, am I going to be contributing to consumerism in some way, or depleting that, just participating in that cycle? And it was almost a reason not to go forward, but I had a moment with myself where I thought, the world moves on, consumerism happens. These are products that help people. And the only way to make a difference is by participating and doing it better than other companies, and hopefully having an influence or an impact in the way that business is done. And I'll say, like, when I first started Baloo, a lot of companies were using plastic filling beads in their blankets, and we were different because we used glass. And I'm really happy to say that that's no longer a point of differentiation for us because everyone's using glass beads, which is good. You know, I'm happy that that's happened. So yeah, I was just like, if we're going to go forward and do this, we're going to have to do it in the most responsible way. And we continue to improve it. It's like, you can never be perfect at it because there always is an impact from your activities. But we're critical of ourselves and always trying to do better.
Awesome. I also wanted to ask about just the whole idea of like self-care and wellness just as a market. It seems like it's just kind of huge right now, and maybe even more so since the pandemic. Like, what do you see in terms of like how that market is growing, and why is it so big? Why is this something that people are so focused on?
Yeah, I was just reading an email someone sent to me the other day on a report that McKinsey published stating that the wellness market is now $1.5 trillion and growing, and saying consumers intend to keep spending more on products that improve health, fitness, nutrition, appearance, sleep, and mindfulness. And I mean, it is really incredible how that market is evolving and maturing, and people are very educated consumers, and they're very thoughtful about what they put on and in their bodies. And I think that the pandemic accelerated that because we had a moment to stop looking outside and distracting ourselves and focus on our health and well-being. And when you slow down, you might realize that some things don't feel right, or that health becomes a bigger priority because you have time to focus on it. So we just see that more and more, especially as the world is changing again and people are going back to work and back to offices. Just from a mental health perspective, there's a lot of anxiety and social anxiety and just anxiety with returning back to work. So people are looking for ways to self-soothe and self-comfort and really take care of themselves.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for that. And also, which I think is really sweet, you're a partner with the Pajama Program, and that it's an organization that gives vulnerable children, so those in homeless shelters and foster care, it gives them new pajamas and a book for bedtime, which is so sweet. So can you tell us how that collaboration came about, what it entails, and also why giving back is so important for a company?
So I became aware of the Pajama Program first when I was working at Scholastic book clubs, because they are the book donors for that program and have a very close relationship with Genevieve Patero, the creator of it, ever since the beginning, when she was just working out of her apartment with a van making the donations. And then she ended up going on Oprah, and her whole organization took off from there. And that was many years ago. So it's a mature organization with grassroots, even at the local chapters all around the country, run by volunteers. So it really is a remarkable organization in that sense. And so that's how I first knew of them. And I knew of the really incredible work that they were doing. And it seemed so aligned with our mission of being related to bedtime, creating a bedtime routine. And I do believe that we are all, here together on this planet, all affecting and impacting each other energetically, whether we're aware of it or not. And so if we can lift up other people or those who are around us, sharing the world with us, whether we see them or know that we're having a difference or an impact or not, that is just another reason to exist as a company. So for me personally, it's important. And I do think it makes sense for companies because a lot of people feel that way too. And they're voting with their dollars that, anyone can sell something, but people care about the impact of their purchase decisions. So from a marketing perspective, I think it makes a lot of sense too, especially millennial generation cares so much about giving back, cares so much about the environment, and is really conscious and aware. So I think it makes sense for all the reasons.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. We've gone over like a wide variety of really interesting information, and kind of serious stuff, but I wanted to like end the podcast just talking about something a little bit more fun, just like our own personal kind of self-care rituals and items. I actually have my things that I like to kind of unwind and de-stress, and be like a nice cup of tea, book to read, and then I don't have any weighted blankets, but I have a nice soft blanket that I like to curl up in. So I'm just curious if we could all like to talk about like what our favorite things are.
Yeah. Should I go? I'll
Whoever
go.
wants to go for it. Yeah, you go for it.
So, well, I have these here in front of me. These are called Solo speakers, or Jennifer uses them too. Do you have yours?
I do.
Yeah, they're like gorgeous. So they play a 3-minute loop of tunes. And now that I've started them, I don't know if it's going to stop.
You can turn it off. You can,
Okay.
yeah, you can
Yeah,
stop.
but they're so nice to meditate to. And I hired a mindfulness coach in the past few months because I realized I was kind of like, I felt like I needed a little bit of support. So now I've been meditating every morning, and my partner and I do yoga for 20 minutes together on the Peloton app, like just a short 20 minutes. And that's been like really amazing.
I love that. So you use the speakers while you're meditating? Is that the idea?
Yeah, they just play for 3 minutes and then they stop. And what's cool about them is you don't need a screen or an app or anything. You just turn them on and they go.
Why do you need two of them, or is it just
They come as a set, and then they each play a tune, but it's not a tune. It's I don't know, like if I'm going to give it justice, Jen, what would you say? They're like,
So we love them so much, because the reason we both have them is because like at the beginning of the pandemic, I ordered them. And then we reached out. We actually were
we
out
sell
of
them on our
product.
website. We love them so much. Yeah.
We were out of blankets because it was the beginning of COVID, and everyone was buying weighted blankets, and it was so hard to get, more inventory. So we actually reached out to the owner, and we had this total love fest, Zoom call where we were like, oh, we love you so much. And they're like, we love you so much. So we started selling them. But he's a musician and a music producer. So he he kind of meditated himself and then played 3-ish minute I don't know the technology, no melodic, no amelodic music. And he recorded hundreds and hundreds of these. So each one independently plays one of these sequences, and they work together. And because they're playing different things and there's not a pattern, so your brain can't anticipate what's gonna come. So it really is very quick and easy way to just slip into meditation or mindfulness and relaxation, and you can feel your blood pressure drop.
It's called the Solu Now Tone Therapy speaker
Oh.
system. Yeah, for anyone who's curious. Yeah.
And I was gonna say, so I moved to New Jersey a year and a half ago, and from the Upper West Side, and the thing that I've loved in the last year and a half has been having a garden. So I just planted wildflower seeds in 2 parts of my yard last winter, and so just going outside a few times a day and looking to see if anything new has come up, honestly. And things do come up new, some new flowers came up this morning that weren't there yesterday. That, and then just going for walks. I've been going for a walk every morning, and I started because I've been having back problems and I had to go for a walk, but it's actually been just really, really nice, and I plan to just do it forever now. It's such a nice way to start the day.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you, Sarah?
So I have actually gotten into, which I'm actually going to go back and re-listen with a more attentive ear, but I've actually really gotten into the science of sleep, which is appropriate for us. And there's a podcast, but you probably heard of it. It's Matthew Walker, but it's called The Sleep Diplomat. And he has this British way about him. He's kind of self-deprecating, and it's sweet. And he has these very gentle, the way he presents the science of sleep. And then each episode is maybe, I don't know, 11, 12 minutes. They're really digestible. But I've learned just in the few that I've listened to, I've learned so much about the science of sleep and how sleep is so complicated, but we forget that because we're asleep during it. So we're not aware of what's going on. But our body is always, even during the day, is kind of preparing itself for sleep later. And then everybody has a unique cycle, and what that kind of looks like, and how you can help your body, have better sleep. Some of the things that we assume about sleep are actually wrong. And then, my own body, how as you age, your body metabolizes things differently. So I really got upset and resentful when I couldn't metabolize coffee at 11 o'clock at night anymore. And I used to just be able to go right to sleep. And my dietitian was like, it's okay. It just means you're changing a little bit, and we just have to change our habits. And I realized that sleep affects everything else. It affects your mood, your emotions, your reasoning, your decision making. Everything ties back to sleep. So that's been my self-care, is being a lot more cognizant of sleep and helping my body get a better night's sleep. But that podcast, it's a great resource. I highly recommend it.
It is, everything you said about sleep is so true. It's like the number one thing you can do for your overall well-being. It's so exciting and amazing.
Yep. Totally agree.
I
Yeah.
love to sleep.
Me too.
I love to sleep.
Sleep is the best. Well, thank you, ladies, for being with us today. And for more sustainability and self-care market opportunities, please head to asicentral.com/news. Thanks for listening. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.